Tonight, I'd like to welcome to the podcast Brian Parker II from St. Xavier High School in Cincinnati. And I saw Brian when he was a sophomore playing at St. Ignatius, he and Cam Collins, and I liked him at that time. And Brian is a center. Brian, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. How are you handling the COVID-19 in regards to conditioning and things like that?
So right now we go to school 5 days a week, and everybody's in the building. So we have football lifting every morning on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So we're in there like we usually would without COVID. And I also play lacrosse, which is 5 days a week, from 5 to 7:30 after school. So that gets me good agility, footwork, and endurance workout with games on the
For
weekend.
sure. And lacrosse is a little bit tougher than people think it is.
Yeah, it's a fast-paced sport, and you got to be able to catch and throw. So good hand-eye
That's
coordination.
good. And you're an offensive lineman, right?
Yep, offensive lineman.
And center, I think.
Yeah, I played center this entire last season. And the season before, I started left guard, went to center when our senior broke his hand, and then returned to left guard for the playoffs.
You do a nice job at center, trust me. And you're all of 6'5", and you said you weigh 290?
Yep, 290 at the scale on Friday.
That's good. That's really good. Okay, let's talk football for a minute first. Why football? What makes football so good and interesting?
You just get to go out there and impose your will on somebody. I mean, hitting people is fun, knocking them over. It's a high energy game, playing in front of big crowds. It's a team sport, the relationships you build, and then winning. Winning's fun.
You're playing at St. Exo, man. You win a few games. I'm just kidding. It's an excellent program, and Coach Speck is a good friend of mine. I told you before the show, podcast. Okay, has anybody, with that being said, has anybody jumped out as far as influencing you as a person? You know, we talk football. Let's talk about you. Is anybody you look at and say, you know, I have a lot of respect for? Anybody?
Obviously, my parents. Both my parents were college athletes. My mom played tennis, and then my dad was a football player at Bucknell. And then Coach Specht and Coach Coverdale and Coach Neal. Coach Specht, obviously, our head coach. You got to respect him. What he's done over his time at St. X is unremarkable. And then you also have Coach Cove, who's come up from Trinity, who's a great coach. I mean, he won a lot down there, and this is going to be his third season. He's already got a state championship. Then Coach Neal's been all over. He was at Moeller for a while, and he's a good offensive line coach that teaches us technique. And I mean, I respect them all a lot, along with everybody else in the program.
Right.
Everybody we have is.
Okay, you said the obvious. How have your parents helped you?
They're giving me the opportunities they have. Taking me to the football games from when I was a little kid, and then supplying the necessary things like food and money for my education. St. X isn't cheap, and you got to pay a lot of money to go there. And they got me a car, which I take there, and gas isn't cheap, and so just everything they do.
We're good. What they've been there for you.
Yeah.
I always wonder how when they say that about parents, and that's got to be exciting. Everything. Plus, you know, I know all the Catholic School League coaches, so I got to be nice.
Yeah.
And I know the elder coach really well, and Osal. But anyway, that's really good. Let's jump back to football then. Okay, what do you see as a strength for you right now in football? What's a strength?
We pass the ball a lot. We like to run a spread offense. So our pass pro has to be on point. We like going 5-man pass pro, no help from the running back usually, unless they're showing some type of 6 or 7-man pressure. So you got to be good at a 1v1 pass pro situation on an island. And then
is that a strength for you?
I would say most definitely.
Because of your feet and length?
Feet, length, and then staying low. I play with good leverage. I used to wrestle, so leverage is everything. Yeah,
that's really good then. Wrestling gives you balance. I don't want to balance and everything. That's really good. So you have a good background in that. What do you have to work
on? Second level, chasing the little guys. Sometimes you got to work on your knee bend out there. We do a lot of screen plays. And so when you get out there, sometimes you start chugging and you're over pursuing to an angle and they can cut back behind you.
Now, Brian, I've watched you on video now. You don't do too bad a job of that.
No,
let's not make it sound. I know. But I really think I've told you, but coming on here, and I'll tell you at the end, I think your potential is unreal. And I'm kind of surprised. And I know I've done this for a long time. And I even told you that the other day. Well, let's go to something. I'm surprised. Okay, let's talk about. We talked about the biggest influence. We talked about football. What annoys you in just anything, not necessarily football? What gets under your skin a little bit?
Drama. When a situation like a football team that has too many people talking about themselves, worried about themselves, and it's all about me. A team guy. Everybody's got to do their part, and nobody cares who you are or what your name is. You go out there and perform every week. And then,
tell me about school. I'm guessing with schools, not the classroom's not like a foreign country to you, is it? The library and things like that.
Yeah, no.
How are you doing in school?
I have over a 4.0 GPA. I take right now. I take honors pre-calculus with AP United States History. I've been honor roll first honors my entire time at St. X. So my school.
So you, as the saying goes, you can read and write, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
I can read and write.
That's one of the cliches that I use when I'm talking to coaches, not to parents, but it's St. X. I mean, your program's academically not quite up there with the rest of them, is it? I'm joking with you. I'm sorry. Don't hurt me now. I was teasing you. Okay, what do you think about doing 10 years from now? If you don't get lucky and play after college, what are you going to be doing 10 years from now?
I'd like to be in some type of a business, a finance major.
Okay.
And, take over the family business. Be the number one.
That being what?
My dad has his own financial firm, and so I'd take that over from him. That's
really nice. So mathematics is probably pretty good to you too, right?
Yeah, I have.
That's really good. My oldest son he has a CPA, and I mean, he's just a math guy. I mean, I taught English, so I'm not a math guy. What advice? I ask this to every player I talk to. You're pretty successful. What advice would you give to a freshman or maybe a sophomore? Now you've been through the lot. You've won quite a few. What advice would you give to a freshman or a sophomore football player?
Work hard. You always got to work hard. Don't get envious of other people. Focus on yourself and play as many sports as you can, because you acquire many things. Like I've played basketball, wrestling, baseball, lacrosse. And as it's gone on, I've narrowed it down to a winter or a football and lacrosse in the spring for time management. But you take everything you learn, like wrestling for 9 years has helped me unbelievably with all the different things. And then just learning the work ethic. You got to be able to work at it. You got to get down in the weight room and grind. You got to be able to put in the work on the off season so it shows on the in season. You can't sit around and eat a bunch of trash food and then expect to go out there and perform at your best.
Right. That's really good. And what would be one thing? Let's have a couple of fun questions. If you could exchange places for one day with anybody, who would it be? One day, like a little magic thing here. Who would you exchange places with for one day?
Dead or alive?
Dead or alive. Yeah, good. I haven't had that yet.
I do one of the World War II generals, maybe General Patton. His leadership abilities, getting people to follow him and do what he does and do it at such a remarkable rate. Being able to take a group of that big of an operation and to take down such a tough opponent.
Yeah.
It'd be really interesting to see how he got his
He
men around.
A good character. Good character guy. I mean, he was tough now. You know that I've read about him, and through history and things like that. Okay, what would be one talent that you would like to have that you don't have and probably could never do?
I probably could never do.
Play guitar, rock band, or
Yeah,
I've had guys even say they'd like to fly. That's not quite what I need, but what would be one thing?
A musical talent, like drums or guitar. Playing the drums would be like, be able to play the drums would be very cool.
Okay, you probably can't. You'd have to take a lot of work at that, right?
Yeah, it'd be a long process to be able to do that.
Well, that's good. Okay, we talked about advice to kids, and which I think is huge. What do you do in your free time, Brian? What do you do in I don't know, free time or downtime or whatever you call it. I mean, you've done a lot.
Yeah, so when I'm not at some type of sporting event, I like to obviously get rest and rehab, and then hang out with your teammates and friends and just build relationships, because your team's gonna be a whole lot better if you have good chemistry than if nobody hangs out with each other or likes each other and cause problems.
And that locker room means an awful lot.
Yeah.
And you know that. It means an awful lot. Okay. Let's talk about recruiting for just a little bit. How is that going?
It's going great. I have a wide variety of schools.
That's what you've said.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into it because that's what all these experts do. And I'm not, they ask you about all the recruiting schools, but give me an idea of 3 or 4 schools. I know you've had a few offers, and I have been told you're going to blow up. You know what that means? You're going to start getting more offers, because I've talked to a couple. I probably should do this off the air, but you're going to blow up, I think. But give me a couple of offers right now, or guys that have really shown a lot of interest.
And Northwestern, and then UC and Pitt have always been interested from the very beginning. And then I'm originally from New Jersey, so places like Princeton, I have a lot of connections there. They've been interested from the very beginning. And I don't really know what I want yet, because I haven't been able to travel around very much and see like a campus in real life. Like, I have an idea of certain standards that I want to see, but as a campus comparing to other places, it's hard, because going on a Zoom call and looking at a picture of a place is a lot different than being there and meeting the people.
And I hate to tell you this, but I don't know how much better that's going to get. I was doing some wishful thinking. And Brian, I've done this stuff for 30 years. It's not like I was doing some wishful thinking, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what the summer holds, and it's scary. And well, let's don't get into it because it's politics involved.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about your recruiting then. What do you've already told me, but is there any certain thing you're looking at? How important are academics?
They are at the top of the list. I want a high academic school, a degree that when you come out has power behind it. And then I want a team that's competitive, that plays high, plays football with a tight locker room feel. Everybody's there together, and relative access, like able for my family to get there. Big family guy, so.
Right. Are you?
Yeah, we're very close as a family, so
that
their ability to get there would be important.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, I cut you off. So that makes it kind of important that you're in a 2 or 3 hour driving radius or something, I would say.
I'd say a 7-hour driving radius, or just a place that's close to an airport that's easy access for everybody.
Okay. A couple more questions, and you've done a really good job.
Thank you.
Tell me, what would you tell a recruit then? I mean, I'm sure there's some sophomores that are going to get recruited at St. X or St. Xavier. What would you tell them?
Look at what you want There's a lot of people that are going to tell you what you should look for and what you need to, who you should like and why you should like them, but look for what you want and what you desire. Don't listen to other people. It's your choice. It's your life. And you're going to make the decision on where you're going to spend the next 5 years of your life.
That's true. That's true. How much have you learned about the recruiting sales pitches from different schools?
They're interesting. They're all over the place. Some people recruit just about them. Some people like to talk negatively about other schools compared to themselves. But I like to look at what that school has to offer and then take away what I think is good
Yeah,
and then
that's
compare
good. And plus, look at those guys recruiting. Of course, it's hard now. You haven't seen them, I don't think, for a while. So, but just it's hard. It's it's only not only hard for them, it's hard for you, because I totally believe that a prospect has to be able to evaluate who's recruiting him and don't get caught up in all the 5 stars and all these crazy things.
Yeah.
Sounds really good. I appreciate it. And I'll talk to you soon. Okay.
All right. Sounds